Welcome to the Final Four, where all of our teams died in the most painful way possible. Purdue gave Sam hope for a full 20 minutes just to lose by 20 in the second half and 15 overall. It's not a loss. That's emotional warfare. And then Tennessee, Rick Barnes saw the Michigan basketball team and Dusty May on the other sideline and immediately folded and pooped down his leg for a 30-point loss after getting embarrassed by Houston last year. That's great. And Duke, up big, double digits, feeling great. And then UConn, who really hasn't played that well all year, just keeps winning. Duke chokes. UConn survives. We've seen this movie before. So, yeah, welcome to the Final Four. We're not okay.
No, we're not.
Well, before we get to the games that we're not okay with, let's talk about the Illinois game. Illinois handled business. Illinois and Iowa. This Illinois team has just been fun to watch, and they just yet to disappoint here in the last half of the season. So
For about 30 minutes, they were not fun to watch. Like it was a weird back and forth with a very scrappy Iowa team that was just finding a way to get some shots to drop. And then the Iowa magic just kind of ran out. It felt abrupt. It was like 6-7 point game, 6-7 point game. Then it was like a 2-point game. Then Illinois finally got the lead and it was over. It was just like lights out. Keaton Wagler took over. Yeah, the bigs for Illinois imposed their will. They got every rebound, every second chance put back. And for like the last 10 minutes of the game, they looked absolutely unbeatable.
I mean, the halftime box score tells you everything. 32-28, that's a good battle. And then 43-27 in the second half. Illinois just took off. I mean, I'm curious why Jake Davis is starting. I don't understand that. It's like he has one good game out of every 5. His stat line is 13 minutes, 1 point, 2 rebounds, and a block. It's not. I'm curious why that's happening, but Stojakovic seems to have found his groove.
mm-hmm.
Wagler's always had it, and I mean, what's impressive to me is Illinois did this, and McCollum clearly tried to scheme out Mirkovic, and I mean, did a fairly good job at it with 9 points. He did have the 12 rebounds, but it kept him to 9 points, and Wagler and Stojakovic really just carried through. I think what happened was you had Ben McCollum, who's a great coach, come up with an incredible game plan and had his guys ready to go, and they just ran out of talent where Illinois did. Illinois' talent just eventually just overmatched them. Because I mean, there's a reason I was a 9 seed. They limped into the Big Ten tournament and into this tournament. So like that finally just ran out of talent and magic and all that. It was a fun game to watch for a bit. And Sturts played every minute of every game and doubled his turnover total for the tournament in this game with 2. My man had 3 turnovers all tournament. That's insane.
That's unbelievable.
Talked about enough. That is just ridiculous. As much as that guy had the ball in his hands.
Yeah, and then look, I get, when you make an Elite 8 in your first year at a big boy program, you're going to get a lot of love. I'm not 100% sure if that was McCollum's coaching or the fact that he had Bennett Sturts willing him to win every game. Because it's, a resume looks really, really good when you have great players. So it's going to be an interesting year 2 without a guy that's kind of like carried him and carried the water for him for a while. So I'm very curious to see what Iowa year 2 looks like under Ben McCollum. But, again, they were scrappy. They made the Elite 8. They made it as far as most Big Ten teams did. So credit to them, credit to that team, credit to them for fighting. However, they finally ran into the buzzsaw that was just going to eventually happen. And we're shocked it didn't happen against Florida. But, here we are against the top offense in the country. I mean, it just came in full effect.
I mean, is Sturts done? I know he's a senior, but
he's got to be. I mean, well, shit, everybody gets like 6-7 years now. I mean, Oscar Clough's fighting for an extra year of eligibility now. I'm pretty sure Aaron Kraft is still playing college basketball. So,
well, there was. I mean, Cameron Fletcher for High Point. I think he was in his 7th year from there. He went to Kentucky. I think maybe 2 years, and ended up at Florida State for 3. Played at High Point.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah, listen, as a Purdue fan, I've gotten to hear it for last 2 years. Well, isn't Braden Smith like in his 30s? Isn't Zach Edey like 45? Isn't Fletcher Lawyer in his 40s? His hairline maybe says one thing, but Purdue's just graduated true seniors for the last 4 or 5 years. So everybody, gets hung up on it because they're staying for longer than 2 years. But some of these guys are getting 5 or 6 years. I mean, that's just a plain simple fact. And, and they find little loopholes. I mean, Jeremy Fears, he played 12 games his freshman year, and now unfortunately he got shot, and everybody knows that story. But here he is. He's 2.5 years into his college career, and he's technically a sophomore. So it's just the way the rules work.
It is wild. I mean, to be fair to your Purdue guys, they look like they're in their mid-30s with the hairline, beard, like especially Clough. Clough looks like he's been playing basketball since 1912. Like this Illinois team, like how magical does a season break for you? You get to avoid the 1 seed, like you took Houston out in the Sweet 16, and then you're looking at like a step down and from UConn that should have been Duke. Like you're everything is breaking right for them at the right time. Like they're playing some of their best balls. Stojakovic found his game again, and this is kind of what when we previewed it, and why we thought they had a good chance at the Final Four was.
Yeah, they had a good path for sure. I don't think it matters what happens on the left side of this bracket, though. And we'll get more into that here in a minute. But yeah, I think it's breaking perfect for Illinois. Now UConn might come in and beat Illinois and get to the national championship game. I don't think it matters who wins this game.
Yeah, well, we'll get into that later. I'm through treading my feet now. You want to move on to the Purdue game?
Yeah. I mean, I put out a short Saturday night. I thought Purdue played fantastic in the first half. I thought they had a really good game plan, and I thought they matched physicality down low.
Mm-hmm.
Even though they were outsized and really outmanned, they were getting some good production from the bench as well, getting some threes to drop. It was the complete antithesis from the Texas game, where they were just getting shots to drop, and they were looking good. And I think Tommy Lloyd went in and made an adjustment, and Matt Painter went into halftime and said, hey, let's just do the same thing again, right? Because Purdue came out and tried to do the same thing, and Arizona had an answer for it. And Arizona showed why they've been the number 1 team in the country all year. They were more physical. They got shots to drop. They drew fouls. I mean, like I saw a comment. It was like, Purdue versus the refs. I was like, no, it wasn't. It's like the one bad call I saw was when TKR should have had and won, but that's not going to save the game. You were down 9 at that point. So, it's just like, okay, instead of getting a chance to be down 6 or 7, you're still down 9, and you wound up with an awful shot out of that foul. It was just, Purdue was just outclassed. Plain and simple. And as a Purdue fan, I would say it gets easier to digest these things, because it's just become the expectation that we're the bridesmaid and never the bride kind of thing. And like, I had a conversation with my wife where she was like, I'm proud of the way you're handling this. And I'm like, it's just part of my DNA at this point. Now, that being said, like I'm a diehard Purdue fan. I believe black and gold. I don't think Matt Painter will ever win a national title. I just don't think it's going to happen. And I get a lot of flack for that. And I get, I chat with people online. I get comments on Instagram and videos on YouTube and stuff like that I comment on. And a lot of people are just like, well, Matt Painter is the greatest coach to never win one. He will get one day. Well, it's been 20 years, guys. And we've had the baby Boilers, which, Hummel, Atwan Moore, and Juwan Johnson, they were absolutely fantastic. We had the Jaden Ivey years. It's an NBA level talent. Carson Edward willed us to an Elite Eight and almost a Final Four. We had 2-time national player Zach Edey, and we got to the doorstep, but that's about as close as we've ever gotten. Probably will get for a long time. We just lost, 2 All-Americans and one of the best 3-point shooters in the country. It's the doors is like cracked open, and we just can't get through it. And it doesn't change the fact that I'm a huge Purdue fan. It doesn't change like how I'll ever feel about this team. I'm wearing a 41 Braden Smith jersey because I thought that was one of the greatest performances I've ever seen. Like, he tore his jersey, got the blood jersey, and willed his team to a Big Ten tournament championship. And that's fantastic. We're going to hang a banner, but it's not the banner any Purdue fan really ever wants. And we can lie to ourselves and say Big Ten championships are enough and Big Ten tournament championships are fantastic and enough. To me, it's not, because, 60 miles south from where I live right now is a school that's got 5 basketball championships. Now, granted, they haven't happened in 40 years, but they're going to throw that in our face, and they're going to forever, because just the way IU fans are, that's how they operate. And they just got a football national title too, right? So we get to hear that. As Purdue fans, it's just a tough pill to swallow, because we get these teams built in such a way where it gives us hope, and it's the hope that kills, right? And so, here we are, we're at the end of the year, we made it to the Elite Eight, and a lot of people are going to say it was like, well, we made it to the Elite Eight. I am tired of the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight. I want Final Fours, I want championships. And a lot of people say, well, that's just so hard to do. I was like, I get it. It is. It's happened once in 40 some odd years of my existence. It's just a rare thing, right? But then you're like, Duke's there every year, and hell, UConn's there every year. UConn wasn't more talented than Purdue. You'll never convince me UConn was more talented than Purdue. But they're in the Final Four, right? Dan Hurley gets his teams to Final Fours, and you could say it's about NIL and about this, that, and the other thing. Look, I'm looking at our roster next year. I don't see it next year. I think we're going to be good, and I think we're going to develop. And I think a couple of years from now, everybody's going to talk about, like, Purdue, what's their ceiling? Can they make a Final Four? Can they make the Elite Eight? Until we change the way we think as fans, and until we change the way we think as a program, we are going to be on the doorstep, and that's about it. We do this thing where we develop underclass guys or under recruited guys, right? 3 stars, maybe your lower 4 stars and all that fun stuff. And then we develop into these super talents that, are just good enough to get to the door, but not all good enough to get through it. And that's just how we're recruiting now. And until we change that mindset, until we change how we feel about getting some top tier athletes and some top tier portal guys, it's just going to be the same. And it's the modern era. It's NIL era. This is just the way it is. And if we don't adjust, if we don't pivot, we're going to be lost in the crowd that's shuffling to that door. So that's just how I feel as a Purdue fan. Sorry for the long rant. Congratulations, Arizona. They had played a fantastic second half. And I personally hope and think that they will be national champions.
Yeah, I think you kind of nailed it. I think the athletes made the difference there in this game, because everything was going right for Purdue, and you were ahead by 7, and it didn't feel safe at halftime. But like, you shouldn't feel safe going against the number 1 team in the nation, or number 1 seed, even if you're a 2 seed. But like, as soon as those threes didn't go right at the beginning of the first half, like when me and Brad previewed this one beforehand, Arizona is just a very punishing team. It's like trying to push a boulder uphill. At some point, you're going to slip, and it's just going to roll over you. And I think that's just what happened. A couple threes don't go. Then Koa Pete just did his thing. I mean, and that was the matchup problem. You didn't have a great matchup for him. He's too big for Cox and too fast for TKR. But like, he handled Awaka well and did that, but there's just this Arizona team is deep. They're loaded. One of the most important things, it's been a big part of this tournament, they don't miss free throws ever.
No.
They shot 91 in this game and on 22 attempts. Like that's everybody everywhere making shots. It's crazy. They're a fantastic team, and they do it without the 3 ball. I mean, they shot more than I thought they should in this game, and I thought that was credit to how Purdue was playing defense, was pushing them that way. But they went 5 of 15, so nothing special there. But they're just a dominant force.
Their threes were very opportunistic too. Like 4 of their threes came on that massive run that they were on at the start of the second half. So
that was like, it was the first half, I thought, and like you said, halftime Lloyd went in and rejiggered everything and got the defense going, got the offense going, and Matt Painter was like, "Hey, it worked the first time, maybe it'll work again." And it just didn't, because you ended up getting out rebounded, you ended up losing the turnover battle.
Everything. Literally outclassed.
Yeah,
it's the best way I can.
And not knocking Purdue this year. This, like, there's a clear cut of like 1, 2, and 3 this year, and we kind of knew that from almost November. You had Duke, Michigan, and Arizona, and like Arizona just showed like there's levels to this game right now, and Purdue unfortunately was not on the level of Arizona and Michigan right now.
Yep, no, they weren't.
Yeah, it's definitely a bummer, and the bummers kind of continue with this Elite Eight. Tennessee and Michigan. Tennessee did Tennessee things, and having no offense, literally pathetic. The amount of offensive effort and the game plan going into it seemed weak. Michigan is Michigan, and I'll tell you one thing: I hope they don't win. They are just obnoxious. I understand it being hyped up and beating a team by 30 in the Elite Eight, but gosh, those guys are a bunch of assholes. Like, they're punks. It's just not my style. Not my style.
Yeah. Look, from the game itself, the officiating was not like, Tennessee was nowhere near Michigan's level. nowhere near talent-wise, skill-wise, coaching-wise, anything. So for Tennessee to have a chance, there was going to have to be a lot of things go perfect. And as soon as those first 2 calls were made, I was like, this one's done. Like, if they're calling the game and not letting the physicality get into it, we're screwed. And boy, were we. And not blaming it on the refs. It was just they were fairly consistent about how they called the game and wasn't like bad officiating. It was just the different style. Like if you look at the Iowa State game, completely different style of officiating, and Tennessee got to do some more fun things. But oh my God, Rick Barnes, what were you doing? Like, I know some foul trouble got in. You had to do some weird lineups. Like, the offense wasn't getting anything. At first, we were having to try our hardest to get barely jump shots. Michigan, when it was like we were ahead 16-15 or something like that before Michigan went on their 1,000-0 run. But like, nothing easy. You didn't put Gillespie in any kind of good scenario. Nate was trying his best. He was aggressive. I liked what he was doing, but he's just not strong enough. He was just getting knocked off his line every which way. And unfortunately, this is look, Barnes, great coach, borderline great coach. You can have that debate. He's done it for so long. It's incredible what he's done. He really brought Tennessee to the forefront. I mean, the stat going around, Coach K only brought to 3 consecutive Elite Eights once in his career, and here we are at Tennessee doing the same thing, which is great and lovely and fine. But Coach K also had 5 championships and a lot of Final Fours in that mix. I don't know that there's something better out there, but I am tired of this Elite Eight ceiling, and this is 2 years in a row that we have just got to the Elite Eight, saw an elite team, and pooped down our leg. Like, it wasn't even close. Like, last year, we scored 15 points in the first half. Ended up losing by 20. What was happening there? And then this year, we come out and just we improved. We scored 26 points in the first half, so we had 11-point improvement. That's great. We gave up 48. And it was never in doubt. The first 4 minutes gave me a little bit of hope, but then it was just like,
yeah, you guys won the first 4.
Yeah, that's the only part of the game I think we won. And I'm not even sure we won that by accident, because I think we scored last at the buzzer, like at the buzzer of that 4 minutes. Like, it wasn't like we truly won it. It was just embarrassing from every which way. Kerry was the only one I really saw out there like doing everything he could, and it was okay. Akpara put on a score fest at the end of the game, but whatever. This was just sad. This was embarrassing, and I am really, really tired of seeing these takes online about the amount of Elite Eights and stuff. Whatever, great. That's loser talk to be like, hey, we're good with not even making it to the semifinal. We're good at making it to the quarterfinals. That's not. I'm not good with that. And I'm a fan through thick and thin. If you're still complaining about this game, you're not a real fan. No, everybody has a right to complain in a 30-point loss, drumming, embarrassing fashion, that after all the talent fees that the tickets are getting, that Denny White seems to put out there. We had football team went the same way. Basketball team is one the same way. Baseball team is on the downside. Tennessee fans are getting charged more to go see a worse product, and it's painful, hurtful, and I don't see it getting better under Barnes. I think we're capped at the Elite Eight, and if that's where we're happy as a program, I guess I'll just be an old man yelling at clouds forever.
Yeah. No, so yeah, my comment on this game was, Jake, fair point. It was an absolute drubbing. It was over like 8 minutes into the game. Like, I almost texted you guys and be like, you guys gonna be okay? Like, and you made a point, Jake, and it drives me nuts about some fans, and like they feel like the team is beyond reproach. Like, they don't, like, you can't criticize anything. You can't, like, as Purdue fans, there's like a contingent of Purdue fans that just firmly believe you can't criticize anything that they've done. And you get it's like, well, if Painter left, who would be the coach? I'm not saying Painter needs to leave. I'm not saying Painter needs to go. I'm saying he can't get it done. And so if our ceiling or our measurement of success is the Sweet 16 or the Elite Eight, then that's disappointing. It should be national titles, because we've been that good for a while. We need to set our sights higher and our goals higher. And I feel the same way about Tennessee. Like, Tennessee from 2019 through now have had some incredible teams fielded on the court. I mean, I'm not sure how they did in 2020 during the COVID year, but I think they were pretty good.
I was there. You were there. It was the second game of the tournament that we got lucky enough to see, and we got beat by Oregon State, the 12th seed.
Yeah.
So That was Jaden Springer and whatever Keontae or whatever his name, Key something team that was supposedly loaded with NBA offensive talent, which two guys that have not played any strikes in the NBA,
Right.
and just got walloped by a
Keon
very
Johnson.
pitiful Oregon State team.
But yeah, so Tennessee gives Barnes a lifetime contract, and that's all fine and well. And making Elite Eights is a big deal. 3 in a row is a big deal. Like, it is a big deal. But again, if your measurement of success is just getting to the Elite Eight, it's disappointing because, like, as a fan and as a supporter of your program, you want to see the team develop or the team recruit or the team find the players to get you a Final Four, especially with the money that they're spending and the money that they're asking of their fans. Like, NIL is a real thing. Like, I spend money on NIL because I support these players. I want them to get paid. I want them to be better. I want them to stay at my school. But at the same time, I want results. And that's just the part of being a fan. It's just just imagine being an IU basketball fan. The only thing that you have to be happy about is that Purdue got eliminated, right? I mean, God, what a miserable existence for a fan that because your team cannot make the tournament, you just you expect your dollars to go somewhere. And I'm saying that as somebody who actually enjoys IU basketball is I want to see them in the tournament. The game of basketball is better when they're in the tournament, but when they don't make the tournament, it's just man, this product sucks. And now when you make the tournament consistently, Matt Painter came out and said, look, I've been a top 4 seed 9 years in a row. It's okay, cool. But we've also been eliminated in the first round multiple times. We've lost to multiple double-digit seeds in embarrassing fashion. And we also have only been to one Final Four out of that. For as much as we talk about analytics, we got to start looking at these numbers and being is the juice worth the squeeze here? Because as a fan, I was I love that we're constantly talked about as one of the best programs in the country, but it's then you get to see at the end of the year most wins by a head coach without a national title is great. Can't wait to see that number go up.
Tennessee is third in wins in March right now since 2020.
Yes,
and we've not made it farther than the Elite Eight. It's a crazy thing considering UConn has won 2 championships in that span, and possibly
back in the Final Four.
Yeah, Duke's been to multiple Final Fours in that span, and yeah, Tennessee's wins in March is third, and it's never and
Dusty May's in his second year in Michigan. He's in the Final Four again.
Yeah, and the Dalton Connect Purdue year was the only time that Rick Barnes has really been close in the Elite Eight with us. The other times it's been getting drummed, not even close. And that's the thing. It's there's clearly levels to this, and boy is Rick Barnes and this Tennessee team not on the same level as the other teams that are getting to play in the Elite Eight. We are I know we're a 6th seed, and there's the argument they should be happy as a 6th seed team and get that far, blah 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 blah. No, we have been there enough, we've done it enough. My expectation has changed because now the baseline is Sweet 16.
Right.
Which is props to that's part of it. It's props to Barnes and that to move that baseline to there from where it was. And the same thing with Painter, he's moved the baseline up, but at some point the ceiling's got to go up too. Otherwise, you're just going to get squished out. It's
right.
not. But
you're just going to wind up Gonzaga.
Yeah, which is not anywhere near where I want to be. But to talk about this game, I mean, good gosh, Michigan is talented. Good gosh, this looked like the November Michigan. Everything they did went perfectly. I don't think Yaxel missed a shot there for what felt like 20 minutes. And every pass, I mean, the guy ended up with 27, 7, and 4, played 35 minutes, which that was bonkers to me keeping him out there that long.
I agree with that.
Rolling an ankle or something, knowing that you've got Arizona coming, that was questionable. It felt like Dusty May was wanting to prove a point a little bit there for a bit, and then they're fantastic, they're great. Brad, you're right. They were a bunch of assholes about everything. They're up 30, and Yaxel didn't want to pick up the ball, so the clock didn't run. Dude,
yeah, I know.
What is that about? Have some class there. And yeah, you can say the same thing about Kerry coming in and bumping him. Cool. Yeah, I was mad at Kerry for that. I was there's no reason for that.
Yeah,
I didn't see a Michigan fan out there alive yell at Yaxel for that. If you did, props to you for being a decent person. But come on, that's unreasonably stupid and classless to do that in a 30-point game. I mean, anything, you should just be wanting to get out of there. You don't like to care about Tennessee's feelings, but why? There was no point in that. But it was painful. It was pitiful. Michigan was, like I said, Tennessee never had a chance unless everything went perfect. And the first 2 minutes showed us it wasn't going to go perfect. So didn't expect 30, but thought it 20 would have been okay. Like I would have been fine with around 20. This was 30, and it was 30 for a long time.
To that point, I hope Arizona smacks them in the mouth.
I do too, and I think we'll get to that. One thing I want to add real quick is that there's a report out today. Trey Wallace reports that Tennessee is going all in on giving Rick Barnes the proper resources next season to finally get over the Elite Eight roadblock. And so a buddy might have sent it to me. I said, I'd be curious to know what their definition of that actually is. Like, what does that actually look like? Well, they said that, and I haven't watched this video, so this is poor broadcasting on my part, but they're saying that it could be north of 15 million spent on the roster. And here's the thing that it just hit me. I've always been a Rick Barnes fan, and I still, as a coach, as a man,
great human.
But I don't have a whole lot of confidence.
Well,
and the
it's
fact
too
that,
little,
okay,
too
you're gonna
late.
give him more money, and then you had this kind of money, and then you put together this roster. This roster, we did not surround Nate Ahmed with what he needed, and frankly, Nate wasn't what we wanted him to be. Nate was not great. I mean, he'll be forgotten. He's just a blip in Tennessee's radar in our history. I hate to say it again. Great kid. I hope he does great in the NBA. I'm glad that he'll have Tennessee under his name. I think he'll represent the school well and all that. But I'm hoping to have a better NBA career than he did at his time here at Tennessee, because I feel like it was just a massive disappointment. And just like I mentioned before, I can't remember if it was with us or was with the fourth and whatever guys, but this team needed a true point guard, and I think it was meant to have Zakai Ziegler. They thought they were going to have him this season. I think that's one of the reasons it was off balance. But still, that's not an excuse for how they played or just how the season has gone. It's not like the season has been spectacular.
We're 6-8 for a reason.
Exactly. I think that's what I'm ready to be one of those things where people fear us. They're like, oh, we do not want to see Tennessee. That's the connect year was when I felt like people did not want to see us. And that's what I want to get to. I mean, much less past the Elite Eight. I just want to be feared.
The 15 million is too little, too late now.
I agree.
Not that 15 million, but it's too late to give it to him because, the transfer portal. But look at the teams that made it in the Final Four. You're not looking at a ton of brand new 1 year transfers. Michigan's the exception is the exception, not the rule. But that is partially due to the coach change, not necessarily just restacking a team every year. Like UConn is a lot of homegrown talent, and then 1 transfer and a star freshman. Illinois is a couple transfers and that had been there for a year or two, on top of new blood. And then Michigan is, but then Arizona, I don't know that they've got a transfer that transferred in this year. They've got some new freshmen, and then Bradley's been there for a bit. Takeoff and as a freshman, and then Krivas has been there for a bit. Eliorso's been there for a bit. Alaka, this is second or third year there. You got to still build the program out. So it's too little, too late. You're going to get probably a couple of these Belmont kids, but the star freshman, the NBA talent freshman that you got to have, that clearly shows that you have to have a clear NBA talent guy to get into this Final Four. It's all gone.
Yeah, and I want to be in this conversation, in the Cam Boozers of the world, which I don't know if we'll ever see a more dominant player come through for a while, but I want him to consider Tennessee. If we're putting that kind of money out, that's what I would love to see. I mean, I know that might sound crazy, but I mean, hell, the fact that we've been in 3 straight Elite Eights is still shocking to me. But I'm not satisfied with it. I'm just too damn competitive.
I don't know if this is the time to get into it, but Rick Barnes, I don't know if I had NBA dreams. Rick Barnes is where I'm going. Look at his NBA roster.
Sure.
You have Dalton Connect, who can't really get minutes. You have Grant Williams. Okay, check. But the rest of that team, nowhere near the NBA. Tobias Harris, who's been fine in the NBA. But after that, you've got a bunch of guys that were one and then and you don't know how much his conversation led to them leaving, like Kennedy Chandler. Was he okay with him leaving, or was he like, hey, don't do that? And then you don't know that. But the NBA talent from Tennessee is not there. Even with the guys that were predicted to be NBA, so I don't know. I'm not sure that Rick Barnes would be where I mean, there's probably more to it that I don't know, but I don't, that would factor in hey, what's your NBA roster look like? And you go, ooh.
Well, and let me one thing. Shout out Justin Gainey for getting the job at NC State. Well earned, well deserved. I hope he goes there and dominates.
Do you think it is a bad look to take it the day after getting beat by 30 in the Elite Eight?
I mean, do you blame him?
Don't blame him for not taking the job, but to me, I'm like, hey, I don't know, maybe spend a little more time on our game plan rather than interviewing to figure out what you're doing. Like,
Yeah,
I don't know,
I get
doing
that.
Barnes rather than angling for your next job. Let's worry about this one. Whatever. That's just me being bitter. Probably pointless, but that was just me being bitter. Good luck to him. He's going to do great. He played there. He'll do fine. He knows a lot of.
Yeah, I hope so.
I hope for NC State's sake and all that, I hope he does well. We'll see. We'll see how it goes.
All right, let's get to the headbutt or the head rub or the most awkward interaction that I've seen in college basketball. I literally can't remember a time of as awkward as Dan Hurley was with the official after the shot heard around the world. But it's Duke and UConn. Duke losing 72-73.
Look, I have to work with Braylon Mullins' uncle, so I've heard nothing but I've seen 8 million angles of this fucking shot. Congratulations to UConn.
Great. Incredible shot.
Yeah, we could talk about the shot, we could talk about the collapse, we could talk about all that all day. The one thing, the takeaway I've had from this game is when Duke was up 19, I was like, is this really worth watching anymore? And then I was like, yeah, it is, because this is Duke under Shire.
Yeah.
And I think the fair question after watching this season and last season and the season before that is Shire's in-game management is horrible. Let's look.
Yeah, you all the last 4 losses he's had, the 3 this year and UConn, they have had double-digit leads late in the game and gave them up. It's a fair question and should be asked and should be pondered. I think a decent answer to that is he's not really had a point guard yet, and that part of that is the fact that you're living with the one and done type guys. But the same fact, like, this should have never been there. You were up 19. There's no way it should have even come down to one possession. It should have been close. Like, they got dumb and they got lazy in the second half. And I don't know. This has happened enough that you've got to start looking at what Shire's doing. Like, what are you doing when you're up? Like, are you checking out as well? Like, because it was clearly what Duke did. They clearly just checked out.
Mm-hmm.
They thought they had it. And because, like, passes were getting lobbed rather than sent. They weren't really waiting for screens. They just kind of running through the motions. It was poor executed offense. It's hard to tell if it was poor design, but, like, what are you not saying in the huddle when you use your timeouts? Because when you go from 19 to 15, hey, we can't let this happen. They're a very good team. They're here for a reason. And then that gets down to 12. Like, what fire are you lighting? There's something there. You got to wake them up. That's a very fair question. And I'm asking myself, I don't have a good answer for it. Like, something is wrong. Something is broken there. And it sucks because, I mean, this dude is doing things like Coach K never had back-to-back 35-win seasons. He's done it in his first 4 years. Like, did it twice. Gone to 2 Elite Eights and a Final Four, and should have been in multiple Final Fours, should have been in a championship. It probably should have won 2 championships by now, but he's not. So it's the same kind of thing. Like, it's a younger version of what we just talked about with Barnes and Painter. Like, are you going to be able to get it done? And there's like the history stuff you want to say and all that. Like, Coach K went to like 5 Final Fours before he won one, or just 4 Final Four, whatever. All that, but, like, those teams weren't the last 2 teams that Duke has put on the floor. Like, especially last year, so Flag and Conca-Nipple. Like, Flag goes out in the ACC tournament, and Conca-Nipple wins you the ACC tournament. Like, you had 2 guys that were steps beyond everybody else around them, and you couldn't get it done. Couldn't break a press. And then this one, you can't hold on to a 20-point lead.
Yeah.
I don't know. Two big complaints I have in this game before we get to Caden Boozer, whatever he did. One, the officials, I don't know what happens at halftime in this tournament, but they go in there and they it's like they're reviewing film, and they're like, oh man, we do not like how that went. And so they change it. And that's not to say the fouls they're calling are not fouls. Like, that's not the point. Is you spend 20 minutes playing one way, and now you got to figure out how to play a different way in the first 5 to 10 minutes. Otherwise, you're sitting on the bench in foul trouble. Like, Malik Brown 1 foul in the first half, 3 in the first 4 minutes of the second half. He's trying to figure out how to play, and he's a very physical, that kind of stuff. That sucks. That has happened in so many games this year, or in this tournament. And then too many refs are calling intent. You make the rule is you make contact with the official. Boom.
Yeah.
You can't headbutt, not saying what that cost us the game or anything. That's not the same. It's you make contact with the official. Boom. That's the rule. The assistant courts, the coaches run on the court. We saw in a couple conference championship games, and even out here early in the tournament. That's supposed to be boom. It's not you're calling the intent, which then you don't give the credit of who was it we talked about that caught Nagumba's neck in the St. John. Was it?
Yeah.
Or whatever, because he didn't want to land on his face. You won't give the guy that credit, but you'll let Hurley headbutt Roger Ayers that.
There were 2 technicals at the end of that game. That they didn't call either one of them.
They didn't call it, which I understand swallow the whistle at times and whatever, but swallowing your whistle is making a decision too and giving it to the other side as well. So that's what it is. But it was a 19-point lead at one point. Should have ever been that close. So it's not saying the refs cost us the game or anything like that. But here's my issue with Caden Boozer, and I haven't seen anybody really bring this take out. You are an 80% free throw shooter. Why are you giving the ball up? I understand why Cameron Boozer did it in the corner because you're getting trapped. You get rid of that ball. And I understand why Sarr said, get that thing away from me because he's a terrible free throw shooter.
Yeah.
Those are the right plays. You're an 80% free throw shooter, less than 10 seconds on the clock, less than 5 probably when it happened. I can't remember the clock. Why are you trying to get rid of the ball? That's cowardice to me. You can blame it on inexperience. That to me, that's not inexperience. You grew up in an NBA household who basketball was in your blood. You've done it your whole life, state championships and all that. You know what you're supposed to do there, and you can't get too smart for the game of basketball. You hold on, you just hold on to that ball. You get fouled, you put your 2 free throws in, and you go home happy. And you're looking at a trip to Indy instead. Try to be too cute and too smart, and now you're going to be on one shiny moment and get laughed at for a very long time.
10 seconds left in the game. You have 10 seconds to get the ball up half court. If anything else, you take a 10-second violation. There's 0.1 second left on the clock.
Anything. I mean,
anything
you can blame this a little bit on Shire too. Call the timeout.
Anything other
reset your 10-second clock. The game's over.
Anything other than what you did.
Yeah, and my first immediate reaction was, did we not watch the Virginia game last year?
Yeah.
Keon Clark just went, and Furman did this. It just happened in the first round instead of the Elite Eight.
Yep. So anything other than what you did.
Yeah,
that's in-game management.
Stupid, idiotic, bad. He deserves all the hate he's getting. He deserves all the hate he will get. But at the same time, we've saw guys that struggled in the Super Bowl that get paid press conferences and questions for their poor performance. My man went up there and answered the questions. Props to him for that. That's taking it on the chin. That earns you some of the respect back. That's big boy stuff you're seeing from an 19-year-old kid that had the worst moment of his life on display and has to listen. Into Patino's point, what he was saying after the Duke game, he had to listen to them celebrate everything that just happened, and then he's got to step up there and just eat it. And that sucks. There's nothing fun about that, and props to him for doing it.
Hey guys, I got it.
But that's where I land on that. It just sucks. I mean, UConn seems to have tripped and fell their way up to the Final Four and all throughout the season. I mean, that was Braylon Mullen's only 3 hit of the game. He hit from 90 feet away, it felt like. And I mean, that thing went right in.
And kudos to him to gather and take the shot and not to just sling it up there. I mean,
beautiful shot. It was beautiful. It was exactly how you. And I mean, I could see it if it didn't go in. They're like, hey, why didn't you take a couple steps up? Blah blah blah, or anything like that. So you don't question it now. One of the funniest parts of this whole scenario is Isaiah Evans, who was in front of him on that. I can't remember how far he was in front of him. Instagram handle is Get Your Hand Up. And the picture that you see from behind Isaiah Evans is Braylon Mullen shooting and no hand up. So that's just ironic and funny.
I did not know that.
Yeah, that's fun. There's some fun you can have with this one, but I mean, Terrace Reed is a monster. I thought Duke would get in his way a little bit more than what they did. They were nowhere near him in the second half. My dude, though, has to have the clutchest gene. Whoever they played before, Michigan State, he's a 50% free throw shooter on the year, nails 4 to ice that game away. Goes 6 of 9 in this game. Like, he comes up big in big moments.
He's got a huge turn.
Yeah, like with him and out there and the shooting they have around him, the team can make sense if shots go. But I mean, they've just not been hitting shots this year, and so that's unfortunate. But the Illinois game will be interesting from that standpoint because can the shooters on UConn make the shots? We'll see.
Yeah. Well, that kind of leads us into our next section of the show. We've got UConn and Illinois, and then Arizona and Michigan for the Final Four.
Like for the predict, like it's Illinois laying 2.5. I think that's the side I'm going to be on. I think there's too much depth for
Wait,
Illinois.
you said 2.5?
Yeah.
Okay.
Side I think the depth is the issue. I trust the shooting on Illinois more. They've got several big guys they can run through fouls on Terrace Reed, and even if he's having the game of his life, it still takes a miracle shot for them to beat Duke team because they weren't shooting well. Illinois has just as much offensive talent as Duke does. Then they can spread them out a little bit more. They're a better shooting team, so I like Illinois in this one, but obviously don't discount UConn for coming up with some kind of magic.
Right. This is it's kind of a gut feeling, and what I've seen happen just through the years is that after a dramatic win like that, excuse me, also with UConn's personality, I feel like this is a prime territory for Illinois to sneak in and really steal the thunder. That it's like they don't have any pressure on them, and that's the way they play.
Yeah.
I mean, and Coach Underwood, I mean, it's a good thing for him. Brad Underwood getting to the Final Four. That whole story has been great. And I got to meet him one time. He was super nice, really pleasant person. But it's still a very, it just seems like Illinois can play free. And they got this next man up attitude. And Stojakovic is that guy. I mean, if somebody's faltering, he just steps up and elevates their entire team.
Yeah, I mean, like Boswell is not putting up box scores that you're going to be proud of, but he is a big difference in defense. I remember when we were talking when he was out, it was like, man, they really need somebody that can stop the dribble of like those quick point guards. And he comes back, and all of a sudden, like this Illinois team, I feel like has been slept on a little bit in this tournament. Like, they beat the brakes off whoever they played first. It wasn't even close. Handled the second, like the score was worse than the yeah. And then they like the Iowa game, they beat Iowa worse than what the scoreboard said, and that felt like what they did the last game. The game before Iowa too is that they won it handily without a scoreboard getting out of range. Like they have been slept on a little bit, and I would like this is a very scary Illinois team. We saw that firsthand with the Tennessee team. Tennessee played one of their better games in Illinois to just handle everything Tennessee threw at them. They're very good defensively. It's a similar type defense than what Duke was running. So on UConn, and we saw how that took their shooters out. So like I don't know. Like I said, I really like Illinois in this one, but it's hard to discount anything Hurley because, like I said, they've tripped and fell all the way through all these wins all year.
Yeah, no, and I believe someone picked them as their ride or die.
Yeah, it's the only one left too.
Yeah, so
you're sitting on what? 50, 60, $70?
I think I'm 60 something.
Yeah. That's there you go. So one more win, it sucks that you've got the favorite, but it's not going to be a heavy favorite.
Right. No, I just want to see 66-28.
There you go. You'll be right putting that probably like that'll be a night pretty pity if they pull this one off.
Well, I think Sam was alluding to this as well, but Arizona, Michigan, this is for all the marbles.
Yeah, and like they may even lose the next game, whoever wins this. This reminds me of that 2019 Tennessee Virginia Sweet 16 Elite 8. That was the best. Whoever came out of that was the best team.
Yeah.
Whoever comes out of Michigan, Arizona should be the new champion. I think it'll be Arizona. Michigan's favored by 1.5.
Are they really?
Yeah. Well, it's easy to see why. You've got a guy like Yaxel who is more experienced, better shooter than Koa Pete. Then you also have Demara and Morris Johnson Jr., who aren't really playing well in this tournament, but that's 3 big guys to where Arizona really only has 2. it feels like Burries and Bradley. Are they going to really carry him far enough for this one? I mean, Cadeau is sneakily playing well. He's filling his role correctly. The way McKinney and well, Gale are shooting makes Illinois or makes Michigan very, very, very dangerous. I still like Arizona. I like what Tommy Lloyd is doing. I think that with the way the two guard tandem that they have and be able to bring you off, they're a little more consistent off the bench with Alaka. Demara does not like the physicalness and he's not playing that well. And same with Morris Johnson Jr. He can get a little in his head. You can kind of get him riled up. Krivos is a great shot blocker that doesn't foul. So he's a little bit, I think he's a little closer to Mara's height, so you can kind of put a little fear in him.
Mm-hmm.
They want to play fast, and that's what Michigan wants to do. So it's going to be very, very curious to see what the pace of this game is. I love the mid-range jumpers that Bradley and Burries pull off. I think it's very deadly. And if Koa Pete is going to shoot and play like he did against Purdue, I think Michigan, like Yaxel, is somebody he's going to have to try against. Like it's a thicker version of Nate Ament. And I mean, Ament was able to get by him and give him some trouble. It was just Ament wasn't strong enough to handle the bumps where
Right.
Koa Pete is. Like it truly is a coin toss. And I mean, the lines tell you that with 1.5. But I like Arizona in it just probably because I'm more mad at Michigan. But
Yes.
just feels like Arizona is not really had the slip ups that Michigan has.
Mm-hmm.
And like I was talking about earlier, beating them is like pushing a boulder uphill. Yes, you can do it. Any mistake is so punishing because they just keep going and keep going and keep going. And I don't know that Michigan has that keep going, like if they don't start out in front.
Yeah. But I just don't think like Mars is so unintimidating to me. He's just a pain in the ass. He just gets in the way, and I understand that. And you need a guy like that. I mean, in a lot of cases, especially the way that Michigan plays. But no, I like Arizona as well. I mean, I think I picked them to get here, get to the championship game to play Duke. So I've got at least I can get half of it right. But yeah, I think it'll be Arizona. And Tommy Lloyd, I don't think he's getting enough credit for what he's done for all season and what he's been able to develop. And he's been kind of a guy that's been labeled as someone that can't really get the job done. And he's kind of said it kind of feels like he's just pulled himself up by the bootstraps and was like, you know what, I'm gonna be different. And he's done that.
Yeah. It just there was a guy on the show when we did this preview that said like Arizona has the ceiling of the Final Four and all that. That was I don't know. He was a very smart guy that saw this coming from
Brilliant.
way back in June when we covered that. And as you and Sam were like, hey, I don't know how true that is. This is what I envisioned when I saw that. Like I was like,
Yeah.
I can see this team working this well. I also saw like where it could go wrong, but like this is what I was envisioning. I didn't envision this little amount of threes being needed, but hey, like Tommy Lloyd is a great offensive coach, and he's got a very good defensive team that plays a fun style of basketball. This will be worth missing your daughter's wedding to watch this game.
This is really if you kept up with college basketball, Jake, just like you said earlier, that this is these two teams playing right now. This is to play for the best team for this season, like truly the champion of the season. And we'll see who wins this tournament. Obviously after we see the end of this Final Four, but ultimately who won this year, I think comes down to this game right here with Arizona and Michigan. So it's going to be awesome.
I hate Sam had the drop because I want to ask this question. I'll still ask it anyway. Say UConn and Arizona meet in the championship. Do we just get to make fun of the Big Ten for they haven't had a champion and that would be 27 years?
That is wild.
Like because it was Izzo the last time they had one. But this is the best chance they've had. They've got a chance to put a team on either side. So like they could have an all Big Ten championship, or they could be no chance to have a champion, and it's kind of funny. As good as they've been over the years, like the 80 years, like you've got a team like that coming through. This Michigan team, a couple of other Purdue teams that just couldn't get it done, and it's 26 years and counting.
I kind of forgot about that. Like I wasn't thinking about the Big Ten aspect. Yeah, that's kind of crazy. And then really UConn also the another aspect is UConn women are very likely to be winning another championship, and so that's another feat that's pretty wild. Both schools, both programs, that's pretty amazing. They've done it before, but it's been quite a few years.
If Hurley ends up winning this one, winning it all, that's what 3 and 4 years.
Yep.
Does that just cement him as the greatest coach to have coached, like, or like in the like a heavy favorite in that conversation? Because back to back almost beats Florida the year they win it, and then comes back and wins it the next year. Like
greatest of all time, or you just mean?
Yeah. I mean, how many coaches have won 3 and 4 years?
Yeah,
like
that's true.
and it's not like he's had the same team move like with him, and it's like they came in front like sophomores, and like he's had Sonunga or whatever his name was, and Castle and them that won, and then Klingon, that team that won, and then now it's a completely different team besides Karaman. Like,
right.
So I don't know. I think that it's an interesting
That's a valid
conversation,
point.
like conversation to have, because nobody, to my knowledge, besides like in the common era, like has done 3 and 4 years. I mean, you've had the UCLA that won 10 in a row, but that's whatever. But I think that's something that's got to be considered if he gets the next 2 in a row.
He's such a lunatic, but he can flat out coach basketball.
He knows the game inside and out, and gets the best out of whoever he's got. An unreal coach already, and that would just put an extra bit of weight behind his name.
Yeah. Real quick, I looked at this article that popped up on ESPN, and it showed it's like what's next for those that lost in the Elite Eight. And I was scrolling through, and Duke is only losing. Well, I wouldn't say only. This is a massive loss, obviously, but Cameron Boozer and Malik Brown. I mean,
Evans will be gone.
You think Evans is going to go?
Yeah, they're talking about him in the first round, borderline. I think he'll be gone. And Darren Harris will probably be gone, transfer out. But that's neither here nor there. Gumba will be gone as well. I don't think he comes back. They're only forced to lose those two. Like, there's no way Cameron Boozer's coming back, and there's no way Malik Brown's out of eligibility. So, like, Foster probably will come back. I think he even announced he was coming back. And Isaiah
I hope
Evans,
Foster does.
Yeah. Well, I like that. The performance against St. John's has earned him a lot of people's books. But so we'll see what happens. There's a lot to be determined out there. Evans and Agumba could easily be ones that put their name in the combine and then get some information and maybe come back or maybe don't. I think they're borderline, but I would, from what I'm seeing, they're probably in the first round, so they're probably gone. I don't know that it gets better.
Interesting. Yeah, I was wondering about that because I was kind of like, whoa, taking it back. They're gonna have a lot, but I figured Evans was one that might be a bit of a wild card, if not a loss. And then Tennessee has, of course, our entire productivity is leaving.
Yeah, Aquara probably Amen. I mean, Amen should go, and Gillespie.
Yeah, right. Then we got Ralph Scott coming in, but that's still a whole lot of.
And then kid out of Chicago, the point guard out of Chicago, and then we're in the running for another like 4 or 5 star guy, which, leaving a 30-point loss out there is a great way to help that case.
Well, and to kind of go back to my comment or the conversation or my point I brought up when we were talking about Tennessee. There's nobody other than this McDonald's All-American game that's Tennessee's in the running for. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just that part sucks. I wish I would love for us to get to that point, but again, we don't want to beat that dead horse. But that's just part of my frustration. But what else we got? What we got left?
Like I think you got to throw it out there bench behavior. Like, Tiger, dude, just hire a dang driver. What are you doing at that point?
What are you doing? You're like, just don't drive, and especially you're
hire a driver. Like, that's it. Just have, like, there is no need for you to drive ever again in your life.
Nope.
And this is outrageous. And then the headline article come out. Tiger taking a step back from golf to handle his problem. Really? I don't know that he chose to do that. I think that was probably forced on him.
Yeah.
Like, that is unreal. The guy needs help. Get the help you need. But dude, just you've made enough money that this shouldn't be an issue. Like your drinking habits shouldn't be known to us because you keep wrecking your car. You should have his quote. He said he worried about privacy. If you hired a driver, dude, just pay the guy $100,000 a year to drive you everywhere. He's going to be your guy. It's
Yeah. Sign
uh,
an NDA or something.
yeah, just yeah. There's ways to protect yourself from that. And don't do anything stupid in the car. Like
Yeah.
wait till you get to where he drops you off to do whatever stupid thing you're going to do. Like it's unexcusable and get the help, Lord, dude. Come on. You've
I
got to be
know.
better than that. You're a smarter guy than that.
And literally right on the doorstep of the Masters as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you think he's done? Done? Like, I'm
This
not
may
saying
be it.
last we hear of his name, but like, I'm saying like,
There's
no,
I
he's
don't
not
think
playing any big boy tournaments anymore, right? He'll do a celebrity spot here or there, but
yeah. I think this is it. I thought him completely obliterating his leg in his last wreck
yeah,
wouldn't have done that. But this just seems I don't know. It just seems like it's his pride is not enough to get him back at
yeah,
this point because he obviously doesn't care enough to make wise decisions. So I just don't know that he cares enough to at this point. And with Charlie getting older and getting more serious in his career, I could see him taking more of a focus on that. And I mean, the dude's been through a lot. Now it's a lot of it self-inflicted, both winning and losing. But no, I just in my gut, I feel like he's done.
yeah. But and then this always confuses me, man. Like Charlie Woods, props to you for being. You're probably a very good golfer, but you're not going to be your dad.
You know,
Man, if that was me, you could not catch me trying to be a pro golfer. Like, I'm not
dude.
trying to be in my dad's shadow, and every shot, every stroke he takes, Tiger would have done it that goes wrong. Tiger would have done it this way, or I wonder if like all the like, and then when he hits the most perfect shot, it's like, oh, I bet Tiger taught him that. Like, dude, like
Yeah, that's like the
that was
Jordan boys.
yeah,
What do you go get a business degree and go work in the business and be a bajillionaire?
yeah. Or you know, if you're an athlete, you can figure out football, baseball, like some other random sport. Like
Exactly.
that's it's just always confusing to me. It's like there is no way I'd want to deal with just the extra media attention and all that. That's just because of your name. Like that, there's just
Now,
suck.
I'm not thinking through this question, but when has that worked out? Where there's been a great, and then their son or daughter were great. Like I don't think I can think of any.
Yeah, I'm sure there's been some.
It's got to be somebody, right?
Yeah, like it's. I mean, Ken Griffey and Ken Griffey Jr. maybe, and then Dell
Yeah,
is stuff, but like Ken Griffey Sr. and Dell were not the level that they're like that Jordan and Tiger would be.
right.
Like I'm not that big of a hockey guy, but Bobby and Brett Hull, I think, and then Gordy and Mark Howell, I think. I don't. It's clearly not working for Archie Manning. It's clearly not working. I don't think it. I don't know. I'm not a NASCAR guy either. Somebody can tell me was Earnhardt
Earnhardt.
Jr. as good as Earnhardt? Like I don't know,
Mhm.
but there's not that many that is like you can say very well worked out for. I mean, like baseball is the closest one because I forgot about Bobby and Barry, and then
Bobby and
obviously
Mary's roast.
obviously Vladimir and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. Like they're relatively the same level. Like I don't know. It's not. It's can't be easy.
No, I'm with you on that. That's just a mountain of pressure that's constantly being there. And
Like
maybe you're just that confident in yourself, where
yeah,
you just feel like, I'm going to be my own person. And hey, kudos to you for thinking that way and having the mental toughness and that killer
yeah.
instinct.
That's what I'm saying. Like with the ones we listed that were like that good. Hey, props to you for fighting through that extra pressure that nobody else had to deal with and becoming great. Like that's extra impressive.
Yeah,
Happy that you all did that, but man, I wouldn't have tried it.
no, I'm with you.
Oh
All
my goodness.
right,
This is a very sad episode. Maybe next time we get on here, we'll be through these just terrible losses.
I know.
Probably not.
I mean, really, it was a perfect storm.
Yeah.
It was a
Oh,
1-2 punch for you, and
Sunday I'll try not to jump off a roof.
yeah. Yeah, that's unbelievable. Okay, the last thing I'm going to say, I promise, and then we can go in because coach is looking at us. But but I do kind of hate that Dan Hurley's head rub, weird
Yeah.
altercation with the official has kind of not overshadowed, but it just made it more about himself. People are talking about it, and it's kind of
Yeah.
taken away from the game. That part sucks a little bit to me because the Braylon Mullen shot was incredible.
Oh, it's Beautiful.
and I'm never going to forget it. I mean, ever.
That
It'll
that
be a
that that
moment.
brings up. Here's my last one. It's a fun question. Which one are you going to remember more? Braylon Mullins' shot that went in, or Tyler Tanner's shot that against Nebraska that should
Almost
have
went.
that was 95% of the way down.
Oh, dude, yeah, that was another one. That was nasty, and oh yeah, that's something that the almost was what could have been. Definitely, he takes the cake
Yeah.
for that, because that was I can still picture that one and still just think it, oh, like, you know. But yeah, well, coach is giving us that look, and it's time for us to go and clean up this business.
Yeah. Let's see y'all next blowout.